Hey, good evening. We're up to the Daf Memches on the base, the Mishnah.
The lockout is over.
Huh?
The lockout is over.
Yep, definitely does. Says the Mishnah. Now, doing the halachas of Asherah, we said Asherah is Asa Bahana, and so yesterday, even to the extent that if you're in the shade of the shade, it's Asa Bahana. And now we have another halacha. Zorim tachtecha yirakos b'mos hageshamim. You're able to plant underneath the Asherah vegetables in the winter. Avloi b'mos hachama. Rashi says she'ilon gam hu kosher lehem, because the ilon, the shade it causes is bad for them. Shema'akev hachama malava. It needs sun, and since in the winter the sun is not that much, and it stops it from shining through, so therefore you're not having enough from the tree. But you mostly the shamim where there's more sun, I guess, right? I guess the sail is good for it because it protects it from the sun. In other words, in the winter, a little sun is good, and you don't get the little sun. A lot of sun is not good. So in the summer, you can't, according to Tanakama, since it's going to provide shade, you're having enough from the Asherah. You're going to be having enough from the Asherah. The Hachazirin, that's Latuga, that's lettuce, guys. Chazirin, right? Neither one, because the sale is good for both, and therefore you'd be having enough from what? From the Asherah. We're doing the Mishnah on Memches Amid Beis Yehuda. Memches Amid Beis. Rabbi Yossi disagrees.
It's no good because the leaves fall.
Hang in there. Rabbi Yossi Aimer. Rabbi Yossi says, Af lo yirakos b'yemos hageshamim. The Tanakama says you could go ahead and plant yirakos in the winter because the sale is kosher for it, and you won't be having anah. Says Rabbi Yossi, you can't even do that. Why? If they shahan nivya, the falling leaves, sheres, that falls aleihem, and it's what? It's fertilizer for it. So therefore, apparently, according to the Tanakama, that's not a concern. According to Rabbi Yossi, it's a big concern. Now, the sugya that follows, guys, is a major sugya, and the introduction to it is the following. When the leaf falls, right, and the yurakas grow, what's causing the growth? The fertilizer alone, or the fertilizer in conjunction with the karka, with the ground? So it's in conjunction with the ground, right? It's both. That's right. Fertilizer does grow. The fertilizer enhances the karka, but you need the karka. So guys, this is called zeh v'zeh goyrim. Guys, listen. So guys, look at me. According to the Tanakama, who's not concerned about the falling leaves, he's only concerned about what? About the sale. He must hold zeh v'zeh goyrim is mutter. Because he wasn't concerned with the falling leaves as fertilizer, and so therefore the fertilizer and the ground causing the leaves are asa bahana, but zev is goyrim, since you have a heta enhancing it, the karka, right? It's mutter, and therefore the only concern was the sale.
But some equals zev is goyrim.
It has nothing to do with equality. He said, we're not ratios, as long as they're both contributing. Like Rabbi Yossi, obviously, he must hold zev as a goyrim is asa, right? Because he says that's a concern. You can't plant in the winter time. Why? Because it's going to go ahead and be goyrim the growth of the vegetables. So that's important for the sugya. Like the Tanakama, zev as a goyrim is muta, and like Rabbi Yossi, zev as a goyrim is asa. What's the kasha is going to be? We're going to bring other sources where it's the opposite. We're going to be sources where Rabbi Yossi says it's muta, and the Chacham say it's asa, right? So that's going to be the problem. But once you get that, the sugya will go good, okay? So the whole sugya is predicated upon the concept of zev as a goyrim. Remember, says the Gemara, the Rabbi Yossi Sava, zev as a goyrim asa, we have to be concerned about the leaves as fertilizer. For Rabbanan Amri, zev as a goyrim muta, and the Rabbanan say zev as a goyrim is muta. Right, and therefore you're not concerned about the falling leaves. I heard the opposite. Nan. Okay, guys, we saw this earlier. Guys, how do you get rid of a ground up Avodah Zorah? You have gold. You have a metal Avodah Zorah. It's ground up. Right. Said the Chachamim, you got to throw in the Yam Melech. What basically says what? Go ahead and throw it in the wind. Said the Chachamim that what? It's going to be fertilizer, right? It's going to be fertilizer. We had this earlier. Rabbi Yossi says, you go ahead, throw it in the wind. So he yells Zev Zegarim is mutter. And the Chacham say only Yam HaMelech. Why? Because they yell Zev Zegarim is asa. So you have a stirim in obey between the Chachamim and Rabbi Yossi B'chalafta. Rabbi Yossi HaMeshaychik V'zarei L'ruach, ground up the getchka, the metal getchka, throw it in the wind. Aymato Yam. Amrullah, the Chacham told Rabbi Yossi, Afi Nasa Zevel. Therefore, you can't go ahead and grind it up. It says, in our Mishnah, they say mutter, and getting rid of Avodah Zarah, they say asa. Rabbi Yossi by the leaf says asa, by the Avodah Zarah says mutter. So both are shver. That's good. Nice kasha. Bishleim at Rabbi Yossi like kasha. Hasam over there by the Avodah Zarah. Right, it's already been mevatel. Rashi Hasan the kasel ibud lo'avdahu miskavin. He wants to get rid of it. Ukvar botla by this kachavim, and it's already bottle. Like gorami by this kachavim shenish b'me'alaha. It's no different than an avodah zarah that got broken by itself. Hilkach lecha zev is a goyrim. Shari ein kan issa kol kach. That feel rabbanali asvi al mishum gezeira dilma magbale. Maybe you're going to pick it up and you won't be able to be mevatel. Guys, going back in time, the Chacham said the reason why you can't go ahead, you're concerned you're going to pick it up and then it's going to be yours, and then they can't be mevatel the isser. So over here, when you're throwing it to the wind, shine it's already given bottle, right? Memela, therefore, it's not zev zegorim. So really, he holds zev zegorim as asa, like our Mishnah, and therefore you got to be concerned about the falling leaves in the winter. Masha'en came by the Zorah, where already it's been mevatel, it's already the is gone, so it's not zev zegorim. That's the way Rashi learns pshat in Rabbi Yossi. So Hasam, first white line, the kasel ibud matya. Hacha over here by the falling leaves, like kasel ibud asa. Ela de rabbanon kasha. By leaves they say mutter, by the avodah zarah they say asa. Epuch. Okay, so let's switch that around. Okay, we'll switch around the Mishnah, and you'll have Rabbi Yossi saying mutter and the Chacham saying asa. And now you won't have to come onto the teretz of halach libud. Guys, look at me. Once you switch it around, you answer the kasha. If you switch around that Mishnah, the Chacham say you have to worry about the leaves, just like you have to go ahead and throw the avodah zarah into the Yam HaMelech. Rabbi Yossi says you don't have to worry about the leaves because zev zegorim is mutter, and therefore you can go ahead, Zoreya, throw it into the wind, even though it ends up as fertilizer. And you don't need the teretz that what Rabbi Yossi we just gave. That teretz we just gave was predicated upon that he holds zev zegorim is also like a Mishnah, and that's not a case of zev zegorim. But if you switch it around, it's an easy switch, right? The Chacham say asa, you can't go ahead and you have to worry about the leaves, and therefore you have to worry also about the avodah zarah, throwing it to the wind. And Rabbi Yossi says, no, you don't have to worry about the leaves, and you don't have to worry about it. Either case, it can be used for zevel, because zevel zegorim is mutter. So that's the way to answer the kasha. So if you're good, okay. Says the Gemara, don't switch it around. In other words, Rabbi Yossi taka holds zev zegorim is asa. The Rabbi Yossi kiddush shanin, like we just answered, that what it's already bottle already, therefore it's not zev zegorim. And the Rabbanon, and what about the Rabbanon who in our Mishnah says muta and by avodah zarah says asa? Kidam Rav Mari Breid Rav Kahana, ma shemashbiach ba'or poigim bebasa. Whatever you're mashbiach in the or, you poigim in the basa. Hachanami ma shemashbiach benivya poigim b'tzeil. Okay, the Gemara there is discussing in Psuli HaMikdashim, guys. Just quickly, Psuli HaMikdashim, it's kaidesh, but you can be paidet. And when you skin it, there's a way of skinning it that the best way to skin it was from the feet up going down, because then you're able to be intact and can use it as a bag. But it's not good for the basa. So so whatever you gain by the or, you'd lose but in the way you do it in the meat. So too over here, whatever you gain by the fertilizer is going to be negated by the fact that there's too much shade and not enough sun. So Mimela, it's not zev zegorim. In other words, it's negated. So the Chacham really holds zev zegorim is asa, and therefore avodah zarah you have to throw into the yam. Why over here they're not concerned about the leaves. Whatever benefit you get from the leaves is going to be negated by the by the shade, by the shade. Okay. Well, let's see Rashi, guys. 3 lines down. The Rabbanon Leikasha, Inu Nami Zev Zegarim Asa, like they hold by Avodah Zorah, Svir Lahu. Kid Amram, Afu Nasa Zevel, Vahacha Haina Taima, the Shari, the Lekim Goyim Mr. Klau, the Masha Meshbiach Ilan Asir but Allah Poigim B'Tseil, gets Poigim B'Tseil. So you have two Derachim how to learn over here, right? Two Derachim how to learn over here, either, and tremendous nafkamina, guys, and tremendous nafkamina. If you learn Epuch, Rabbi Yossi Aglili holds Zev Zegoyim is Muta. If you hold Lo Epuch, he holds Zev Zegoyim is Asa. And the Rabbanan holds Zev Zegoyim is Asa. And over here, it's not a case of Zev Zegoyim because whatever's negated gained by the Zevel is negated by the shade. Mashen came in, it's real Zevel, it's a problem, and therefore you can't grind it up and throw it to the wind. Geschmack. Just have to keep on repeating it because you have to keep cheshbon. The Gemara is going to go through, you have to keep cheshbon. So right now, okay, says the Gemara Vaita. Beautiful. The Sover Rabbi Yossi Zev Zegoyim Asa. The Rabbi Yossi, according to the way we're learning, right? Kiddushanina, and you're saying that what? That by Avodah Zorah, it's Svad Hoylach Ibud already. Mashen came by fertilizer, you got to worry. But V'hatinan, Rabbi Yossi Omer, Noitin Yichus Shel Arla, you can plant a branch of Arla, Noitin Egos Shel Arla, but you can't plant a nut of Arla. If Neshu Pri. Guys, the Issa of Arla is not the tree, the Issa of Arla is the fruit. Guys, the Issa of Arla is not the tree, it's the fruit. So we know Arla is Asa Bahana, so you can plant not the tree itself, a branch from the tree, you can't plant mat. The shoot, the shoot, you can't plant nuts. Mifnei shu pri. For Rav Yehuda Rav, Moider Rav Yossi nata. If you do plant it, kehivrich v'herkiv, and you go ahead and graft it, or mavrich, put it back in the ground, mutter. Now it's mutter. Now guys, this is Evaz Agorim. This is Evaz Agorim, the Isser and the ground. Tanya Nami Hachi, Moider Rabbi Yossi, Aleph, Shemnata v'Hevrich v'Herkiv Muta. So what do you see, guys? He holds Zev Zegorim as Muta. Guys, he holds Zev Zegorim Mad as Muta.
Isn't the Isser in the planting itself?
What? Again, no. The Itzer is the pre. Is Hana. It's Asa Mad. It doesn't say it's Asa plant. It's Asa Hana. So now I put the nut in the ground. Says Rabbi Yossi, if you do it, okay. But 1 second. This is Zeh. The nut's Asa. The ground is muta, and Rabbi Yossi says it's muta. So you got a problem now. The way you learn pshat in the Mishnah, Rabbi Yossi says you can't use the fertilizer. You got to worry in voice like a shaman because the fertilizer is zev zegorim is asa. Here you see from Arla zev zegorim is muta. Guys, just remember that zev zegorim by Arla is muta. Good. The chitema. What will you say? Shani leil Rabbi Yossi ben shari surim la by this kechavim. That would be a good way. In other words, zev zegorim takis muta. But of the chumrah, Avodah Zorah, therefore the fertilizer underneath the tree you won't be able to use. By Arla, it's a go. Why? Because Zev Zegarim is muta, right? And therefore, guys, by when he ground it up and threw it into as Zevel, not a problem. Oh, but that is a problem. Again, it could be a problem if you have the machmir Avodah Zorah, right? You have a way to answer that, guys. If he's machmir by Avodah Zorah, so how can he let you be sheichek and throw it to the wind? Because it's ibud already. Because he said it was mevatel already. Good. So it was mevatel already. Now says the Gemara, that there's a difference. Now the Gemara is going to say there's no difference, and then the Gemara is going to come back and say no, you're right. There's a difference between Avodah Zorah and other places. Umishanile between Avodah Zorah and Arla, Vatanya, Sadashin is Davla Bezevla by this Kechavim, Bechin Porishin is Patma Bekarshini by this Kechavim. Let's say you had Takruvis, you brought an animal as Avodah Zorah and you had the Zevel. Let's say the animal got fatter, okay? From Karshinim is the vetch of Avodah Kechavim. Tani Chada, Sada Tizra, and Para Tishchat. In other words, the field it's muta, the field, and the para you can shech, you can have anah. B'tanya idach, sada tavar, you have to leave it barren until the zevel or whatever you put in there, the nutrients are gone. Upara tirza, and you have to let the cow get weaker until whatever vetch, I don't know how they would go ahead and calculate this, whatever, quantify it, whatever vetch of the Avodah Zorah is out. So now you have l'chayra. One case would be zev zegorim is muta, and one's asa. The soda that you could use is muta. The one that says you can't use the field is asa. My love Rabbi Yosi, right? Who says what? It's asa v'harabanan, and that's and Rabbi Yosi who would say it's muta, guys. Rabbi Yosi would say it's muta and harabanan. Okay, let's keep cheshbon. Let's get off the cheshbon, guys. Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. We got a problem. We have our Mishnah, Rabbi Yossi saying Zev Zegorim is Asa. We have a Mishnah in Arla, Zev Zegorim is Mutta, right? We have a problem. We have a teretz. We have a stira. What's that teretz? Possibility that by Avodah Zorah he's machmir. By Avodah Zorah he's machmir, and by not Avodah Zorah he's mekel. So Zev Zegorim is Mutta, and because of the chumrah of Avodah Zorah, it's Asa. Fred the Gemara, I'll give you a case of Avodah Zorah, that Zev is a Goyrim, and it's Mutta, and Al Karchach he must say it's Rabbi Yossi. And so you see that by Avodah Zorah, he's also Mekel. So back to the original stira from our Mishnah where he's Machmer. Where do you see that? Let's take one case. You fattened up a cow with Avodah Zorah. One says that with the Kashinu Avodah Zorah. One says use the cow. Zev is a Goyrim, the food and the cow. Or the other stuff he ate, right? The other stuff the cow ate, he ate other good stuff that made him fat. And you have what? And one says you can't use the cow until it goes out, that stuff. So my lav, the one that says mut is Rabbi Yossi, the one that says us is the Chachamim, this is Avodah Zorah, and still Rabbi Yossi is saying mutta. So you're back to the original stira. You have Arlo where he says it's mutta. I'm Mishnah of Asher Avodah Zorah, he's saying Gasa. So the teretz he wanted to give that he holds mutter, and only by what? Only by Avodah Zorah is machmi. You see, by Avodah Zorah is also mekel. Now we're assuming that he's the man da'ama that said you could use the cow, right? That's an assumption. Says the Gemara, it's the wrong assumption. Says the Gemara, my lav ha Rabbi Yossi. The one that says mutter is Rabbi Yossi. Now that creates the problem, fellas, because now we have Rabbi Yossi saying zev ze goyrim by Avodah Zorah is mutter. For harabanan, says lie ha Rabbi Laza harabanan. So now, guys, stopping right here, we have a teretz. What's the teretz? Rabbi Yossi's taka holds zev ze goyrim is mutter like Arla. And my Mishnah says it's asa. It's the chumrah of Avodah Zorah. You see over here by Avodah Zorah, eating the cow you could eat. That's the Rabbanan. That's Rebbe Lazar, not the Rabbanan. Hi, Rebbe Lazar of Rabbanan. Which Rebbe Lazar and Rabbanan are we speaking about? Okay, guys, you got it? That's the Mahalach. That's the Machlok. Ilema Rebbe Lazar Rabbanan the Sa'ar. Now Sa'ar is does anyone's wife make sourdough? Huh? Her husband makes sourdough. My wife makes sourdough. To make sourdough, you need something called a starter. A starter is mamish classic chametz. What does it do? It mamish ferments. It ferments the bread. It mamish. It's called sour yeast. It's mamish. So now you have titnan sor shel chulin v'shel truma. You have this sour yeast of chulin and truma. So this is a kohen can eat it, and the regular Jew cannot. Shenaflu l'toicha isa. It falls into what? Into a dough. Neither one has the ability to ferment the dough. Neither one alone. So now, guys, it's going to be a case of zev zegorim, right? You hear? Guys, how's the dough getting fermented? A combination of what? Of truma and chulin. This is a case of what? Of zev zegorim, right? In its starfu, they combine v'chimtzu. Rebbe Eliezer Omer, acha achron ani ba. Whatever the last one is, I'll use. Whatever the last one is, I'll use. If the last one is truma, only a kohen can eat it. If the last one's a chulin, then a regular Jew can eat it. It doesn't make a difference. It's not going to be us until you have the amount of what kedei chametz in either one. From Rabbi, this is what we need. When do you say that what? When do you say that you go after the last one? Is after if you remove the previous one, if the Isser one. Let's say you left the Truma in, and then what? And then the Chulin fell in? Aser. So what is when is it mutter? When you remove the Isser. So guys, if the Truma falls in first and then the Chulin falls in, you have to remove what the Truma. But if you don't, it's going to be Aser. Okay, now, so L'chaira, you have okay, so what do you see over here? Right? What do you see over here? Look at Rashi. Vam Rabbi Loishanu. Dam Rabbi Laza im Achrein go down. Im Achrein chulin shemuta. El shekoidim b'silik esa isar. Koidim nefilasa shel zeh before the chulin fell in. Shekad shenafel zeh. Lekel amei hetem mitzaref l'isa liyai siyar l'isa. You don't have the svar to say it's mitzaref. The afal pi shekvainosan koyak yisa bisa. But hoysem achmetz la yidei acher. Okay. I feel like even loy havilei moilam shir chemetz lekel amei mazev zegoyrim. Upitel sheni esarishan. Avalom like koidim b'silik yisa asa. Shaf mishnat the hetel l'seifisa the zev is a goyrim asa. Ulabanan zev is a goyrim muta. So in other words, guys, we have a case of sa'ar. Guys, we have a case of sa'ar. So what's the case of sa'ar? What's the case of sa'ar? That Rabbi Eliezer says, if you're going to have, guys, look at me, if you're going to have the isser, and you're going to have the, together with this, zev is a goyrim, it's going to be asa. Zev is a goyrim, it's going to be asa. When's the case of muta where you remove this? Says the Chacham, it's muta. So now we can learn pshat. We can learn pshat in the case of the fat cow. The case of the fat cow is not the one that says asar. Is according to Reb Elazar, because zev is a goyim is asa. The one that says muta is the Rabbanan. But Rabbi Yossi would hold that what zev is a goyim is muta, and there's no and therefore you have a stira to what. No, yeah, zev is a goyim muta except for Avodah Zorah, and you have a teretz to the kasha. Again, guys, look at me. Here, let's hold the cheshbon. Our Mishnah, asa. There's only Rabbi Yossi, asa. Orla, muta. Teretz, our Mishnah is Avodah Zorah, machmir. Right? For the Gemara, how can you say machmir? I have a brisa saying that what? That it's muta. That muta is the Rabbanon. And the one that says asa is Rebbe Elazar. And Rabbi Yossi is not getting involved in that because he holds zev zegar is muta, and he's machmir by Avodah Zorah, and we don't have a stira. That's where we're holding. Okay. So right. So the chayru we're holding good, right? The chayru we are holding very, very good. Okay. Umimai the time of the Rebbe Elazar kidabaya. This whole pshat in Rebbe Elazar is predicated upon holding like a baya that it must be that you don't have a case of zev as a goyim because you remove the iser. Dilma time of the Rebbe Elazar mishum the achran ani ba, right? Maybe the Rebbe Elazar says, well, I'll always go after the last one. If we don't hold like a baya, if you don't like hold like a baya, right? Then it's not a case of zev as a goyim. If you look at Rashi, 3 lines down where it gets semi-wide. Mishum the achron ani ba, the kasava gomru beiser. Since the last thing that completed it was the truma, aser gomru beheta, but the last thing that completed it was chulin muta. Aval hechad naflu b'vas achas la'olam kama lacha zev as a goyim muta svirle. I could hold what zev as a goyim is muta if they're at the same time. In other words, the reason why whatever came in last is the one that I'll go after. That finishes the job. But I could say if they fell in the same time and you don't have a last one, maybe zev is a goyim is muta. So you don't have now a Rebbe Elazar and the Chacham. You don't have someone who says it's asa. Guys, we need someone to say that. Guys, we have kashinim of Avodah Zorah is asa. We need someone to say zev is a goyim is asa. We have a fat cow from para of Avodah Zarah. That means zev is a goyim. The food that the cow ate, aside from the Avodah Zarah food he ate, is asa. That the cow you have to wait till it gets thinner. Good. Who is that man the Omar? We assumed it was what? It was Rebbe Elazar. Says the Gemara, no. That Rebbe Elazar is predicated holding like a baya. If he doesn't hold like a baya, you don't have a man the Omar. Good. So again, we have the teretz to Rabbi Yossi, but we just have to find the man the Amma who holds that zev as a goyim is asa by Avodah Zarah. Okay, so we'll continue looking. Says the Gemara. So let's just finish off the lashon over here. Dilma time of the Rebbe Elazar mishum the achar and iba. Whatever the last one falls in, that's the din it's going to get. Igama be isura. If in this case the truma isura, it'll be truma. If igama be atayre chulin mutarin. Bain silke, whether you move it, bain loy silke, but you don't move it. And then it's not a case of zev is that goyim. Zev is that goyim is when it falls in at the same time. El Rebbe Elazar Rabbanan de eitzim. It must be Rebbe Elazar Rabbanan de eitzim. Dit nan. Not only menu eitzim, you take the atzei ashera. Guys, you're taking atzei ashera. Asura bahana. So the eitzim are asa bahana. Hisik boas atanor. Now you went ahead and you took this wood that's asa bahana, and you went ahead and heated up an oven. Chadash, if it's the first time the oven's being used, so what is founding the oven? What's putting it all together? The first time you use it, lahavdil, it's like christening a boat, right? It like puts it together, right? It goes ahead and it makes the iron, like it gives it yeah. So the thing that is going to be used is ututs. Then you have to break the oven because the oven is going to be us. Anything that you got is going to be made in the oven is going to be us bahana. Yashan, meaning it had been previously been used, right? And now you're just going ahead and you're using what? You're using ache ashera, afa boyasapas, surabana. Okay, if you're going to break bed, it's going to be asabana. Why? Because the oven will be okay, but that'll be asabana. This arva ba'acherim. If now this bread gets mixed up with others, kulan asuras ba'ana. They're all asabana. You take either machloikas, whether you take its value or you take a piece of bread itself and you throw it into the sea, right? So Amullah, they said, "Ain't poidin la'avodas kachavim." Okay, right? That ain't poidin la'avodas kachavim. That you can't go ahead and be poida, but you can't be poida for what for avodas zarah. That's what he said. Okay. And again, you're saying that whatever is there is in this bread. You're being pointed the avodah zarah in this bread, right? That's. So now you have this is a case of zevis agorim. This is a case of zevis agorim, right? It's broken. It's cooked. Why is this zevis agorim? Let's see, Rashi. Bein Eloilam Afas Apas. Bein Bechodesh Shetzina Bechaza Vesiku Batse Heter. Let's say you use the new oven a second time, but you use kosher wood. Bein Biyashon Behesek Shalatze Yisur, or the old oven with Asherah wood. How will they be Shavai with Zev Zagoyrim? How wise is Zev Zagoyrim? Shea Pasha Nefas Boy Bechodosh, Behesik Sheni, Bo Al Yidei Goyrim, the Isha Shenis Chazik Ben Atana Merishisai.
The wood is good.
The wood is good, but it's being Goyrim, the pass with what? With the original wood that was the Asherah that founded the oven. The Goyrim Heta, the Hai Hesek. The Ketani Hapas Asura, the Rebbe Laza, Achiyelech, until you throw it into Yamamelech. So what do you see? Zev is Alma, Zev is Agorim is Asa. And the Rabbanan say, no, you can't be Paida. So the Chayro, we have him on the Alma, guys. We needed, again, why did we need to tight up? We needed a cow that was fattened up by Avodah Zorah. We had to understand why you can't use the cow until you get rid of the nutrients. It must be Rebbe Laza. Says Rebbe Laza, you have to go ahead and take it and throw it away. You have to get rid of it. Why? Because even though it was Zev Goyrim, the new wood with the old wood, kosher wood in an old oven, or a new oven, kosher wood with a new oven, or asherah wood with an old oven, it's Zev Goyrim. And Rebbe Lazar says you can use it. So what do you see? He must hold Zev Goyrim by Avodah Zarah is Asa. So he must be the man who says that what? That the cow is fattened up is Asa. And therefore we have Rabbi there we have Rabbi Yossi saying I hold Zev Zagoyim as Mutter and I'm Machmir by Avodah Zarah, and we have an answer to Astira. Again, I just keep on repeating the Cheshbon, guys, going down the Cheshbon. For Rabbanan the Pligi leather of Lazamaninu. Now, who are the Rabbanan that argue on him? That say Zev Zagoyim is Mutter, guys. Elaine Rabbanan the Eitzim, right? Guys, the Rabbanan of Eitzim, Achmurei Machmer. The case of Eitzim, they're more Machmer. They say you have to throw in it. Guys, they were more Machmer than Rebbe Lazar. They said you can't be paida it. So obviously it can't be there. Guys, they said the pass, you can't be paida. So you see, they're more Machmer than Rebbe Lazar. So it can't be they hold Zev Zagoyim as Mutter. Again, We have a mandiyama who says it's mutter. How do you know? Because the mandiyama says when you fatten up the ox with the para, with the kashinim, it's mutter to use it. Who's that mandiyama? It can't be the Rabbanan of Eitzim. They're more machmir. El Rabbanan de Sa'ar, right? The Rabbanan of Sa'ar, that the case of Sa'ar, they said that what? That l'chayra, that it would be mutter. Be mutter. Aim of the Shamli Rabbanan the Makili b'Sa'ar, but by this Kachavim Makili, good. There by Sa'ar wasn't Avodah Zarah. Sa'ar was the case of out of Truma. So Zevazeh Garim by Truma, but maybe they're Machmeh by Avodah Zarah. Eloilam Hara. Okay, guys. So therefore, guess what? We're going back, guys. We're going back. What does that mean? We're going back. Let's go back outside. Look at me. I'll go back. I'll take you back, guys. Look at me. I'll take you back. Watch. And our Mishnah says Rabbi Yossi, you can't use the leaves that fall down. It's fertilizer. Mashma zevazeh garim is asa. Good. Arla. Rabbi Yossi said you plant the arla. Zevazeh garim is mutter. Okay. Stira. I got a teretz. What's a teretz? Really zevazeh garim is mutter, like by arla. But over here by Avodah Zarah we're machmir. Fred the Gemara. Where do you see the how do you see Yom Machmir? I have a case of Avodah Zarah where we see that what that it's mutter. Why you go ahead fatten up the cow? It's mutter. Isn't he the one who holds it? Rabbi Yossi holds mutter. Would hold the cow is also mutter. So you have a problem of Avodah Zarah. And for the Gemara, no, that's Rebbe Lazar. So now we're just proving Rebbe Lazar, but he would hold it's asa, and the Chacham would hold it's mutter. But we don't have any Chachamim. Says the Olam guys, you know who it is? It's Rabbi Yossi and the Chachamim. So Rabbi Yossi holds by Avodah Zarah, it's mutter. So you got a problem now. Then what's our Mishnah? So in other words, Rabbi Yossi by Arla says it's mutter. Rabbi Yossi by the fat cow says it's mutter. What's our problem? Rabbi Yossi in our Mishnah who says the leaves are that's the problem. Our Mishnah, correct? Guys, you with me? In other words, I give you the cases. Let's go through it. Our Mishnah asa, Arla mutter, fat cow mutter. What was our problem? If fat cow is mutter, right, then it's a steer to our Mishnah. Because he says in our Mishnah, Avodah Zarah is asa, and fat cow is Avodah Zarah. So we wanted to say that Rabbi Yossi is machmir by Avodah Zarah. And now we're stuck. We don't have a Rabbanan who's makel by Avodah Zarah. So says the Gemara, here's pshat. Ela oilam ha Rabbi Yossi Rabbanan. For Rabbi Yossi l'devreim de Rabbanan amalahu. Rabbi Yossi in our Mishnah, fellas, does not hold its asa. He's speaking to the Chachamim. Lididi, according to me, zev goyim is mutter. I hold its mutter, and therefore there is no problem whatsoever in the winter going ahead and putting Yerakos underneath the tree. Because even though you're going to have a situation of zev goyim when the leaves fall and create fertilizer, I hold its mutter. Just like I hold by Arla, and just like I hold by a fat cow. Straight across the board, mutter, mutter, mutter. Liditchu, you the Rabbanan, who holds zev goyim is mut asad, oidul amiyas af Yerakos b'yimos geshamim. That the Yerakos and Shamim, you should not be able to. Why? Because you have to worry about the fertilizer that you hold as asa. Because you can have a case of the leaves and the ground being goyrim, and you hold asa. That's pshat. That's pshat. So you got the cheshbon? For Rabbanon who say are not worried about that, Kidam Rav Mari Brei Rav Kahana Rav Yudah Amar Shmuel Halacha Krebbi. Like Kidam Rav Mari Brei Rav Kahana, right? Which was what? Whatever you gain by the fertilizer, you lose by the lack of shade. By the shade. There you go. Rav Yudah Shmuel Lach Rabbi Yossi. Lach is like Rabbi Yossi. Guys, you good? One more time. Go to the cheshbon. You good? You want to do cheshbon one more time? Unless you say yes, I'm not going to. Okay, I'm not going to. Good? You good? Everyone's good? Silence is golden. Everyone's muted. I see.
We're all saying it. Just can't hear it. It's muted.
Okay. Okay. Ginasa. There was this gardener, this Tavel Besavla, the Vayeskechavim. He went ahead and he fertilized his field using the Sevelo of Avodah Zarah. Shalach Rav Amram Kamei Rav Yosef Amlei Hachi Am Rav Yehuda Meshmuel Halacha Rav Yossi Like that zev is a goyim is muta, and therefore you don't have a problem even by Avodah Zorah. We're not going to be machmer. Says the Mishnah. Amid base. Natal mimenu eitzim. Natal mimenu eitzim asurim bahana. You take away. If this sounds familiar, we just had it. Hisik ben satanor im chadosh. If it's a new tanner, you have to break it. Why? Because zev is a goyim is asa. We don't hold like this, guys. You wouldn't have to break it. We hold like Rabbi Yossi, guys. If Allah is like Rabbi Yossi, zev is a goyim. Guys, look. I'm just telling you, lemaisa. Guys, lemaisa. What happens? The Gemara is not going to say this, guys. Just to give you a nice concluding statement. If you go ahead and found the oven with Asherah wood, the next time you use it with kosher wood, is that a case of zev is a goyim? Yeah. Yes. You have the oven, the initial oven, and now you have the new wood. It's zev is a goyim. The Mishnah says yutats. But we pass like Rabbi Yossi, zev is a goyim afilu by Avodah Zorah is muta. So you wouldn't have to break the oven. You wouldn't have to break the oven. Mm-hmm. This is only like the sheet that holds zev is a goyim is asa. Like Rabbi Yossi, it's muta. Okay. V'im yashan yutzan, let it cool off. Afa b'yasapas asura b'hana, nisar b'acher is kulon asura b'hana. Rabbi Lezer Omer yolach hana liyam melach. Amr loy ein pidyon l'bayis kechafim. Not only menocharka, if you take from it a splinter asa b'hana, ari b'yas a beged asa b'hana. They would go ahead and they would take like a splinter and they would use it as in the weaving process. Okay. Nisar b'acherim 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 kulon asurim b'hana. So you have two, right? You have two cases over here, right? You have the case of pas and the case of weaving. The tzricha, the ashmina kamaisa, the case by the oven, the pas. Mishum the kagamra pas surah. Over there, Rabbi says he has opinion because by the time the pas is baked, the isser is gone already. Aval charkar, however, by the splinter, the isser surah, this type of a wooden pick that you took out of it, it's always around. The end, that what you can be played up. V'yashmin and charka b'hokam rabbanon. I will pass in moidle labaz so that what you should be able to play this. It's smicha that no. Amar Chia Brei the Rav Nachmeni Amar Chista Army Ziri Allah Rebbe Laza. The Allah is like Rebbe Eliezer. Excuse me. Ikad the army Amar Chista Amar Le Abba Bar Chista Hachi Amar Ziri Allah Rebbe Eliezer. The Allah is like what? Is like Rebbe Eliezer. Amar Vada Rabba Leishanu El Pas. But if you have barrels that are mixed together, not. If you have chavias mixed together, guys, again, it's not open chavias, it's not wine falling into wine, it's barrels. Now, mutta does not mean you can drink it, it means you can have enough from it. Because you have, what are those barrels, yayin nesa? Look at Rashi. Elapas, mishum deloy minka rabbe, you don't recognize it, issa mamish. Aval chavias shal yayin nesach, shenis aru b'chavias shal heter, kulin asuris ba'na. You would never know by going ahead, taking its value and throwing it to the Yam Melech. Lahater. And what's the heter? To sell each one separately. Or to give them to donkey drivers over the chavim. Guys, even if it's mutter, you won't be able to drink it. The question is whether you can have enough from it. Right? You hear? The question is, have I know? You can't drink it. You can serve it to somebody else, you can have enough from it. But you would be able to sell chutz yayin nesach. The hashtalei mishani mechavias deisura. Everyone's moida, you will be able to sell it except for the value of that. Okay. Back in the Gemara, Amravada leishanu el pan v'chistam afilu chavias muteres. Who gavra this ari v'chavias the yayin nesach b'chamei askamid of chistam shakal ar bezuzei. That's lav dafka that amount. V'shadi ben arod neshadi lachnis muter have anah. Again, you won't be able to drink it, but you'll be able to sell it, or give it to a worker to drink. Okay, Ketzad mivatla, right? How do you mivatla the ashera? Kirsayim, right? You have vizired, not only menu. If either you go ahead and you take from it, you take kisim are dry parts of the elon, and zered is a lach part of the elon. If you take that off, you mivatl it. Right, makol, if you take a stick from it, a sharvit or a scepter from it, or a filu ola, even leaves from it, how is that betela? However, shifa litzarcha, if you're going ahead and trimming it for its needs, asura, right? Shaloi litzarcha muteres. But if it's only if then that would be an act of bittul. So if you're going ahead and cutting the tree for the purpose of the tree, then it's not an act of bittul. If you don't go ahead and doing for the purpose what of yourself, then what it would be an act of bittul. It would be an act of bittul. I said shafoyim atei aleim. Those chips. What's the din? So pligi machlokes Rav Huna, right? And chia barav chadam asurim. One says what it would be asa. The chadam mutarim. Tanya command yom mutarim. The Tanya oivik kachavim shashifa avedes kachavim litzarchai litzarchai for his needs. He v'shofel mutarim. Then both what the tree itself and the chips are mutter because he was mevatel the tree. The tzarcha for the purpose of the tree, he surah, the tree would be asa, ushafel mutarim. So either way, what the chips would be mutter. If Yisrael shashifa avodas kachavim, bein litzarcha ben litzarcha, avodas Zorah does it. If a Jew does it, then he shafel esurim, they would both what be asa because it's not an act of bittul. A Jew cannot be mevatel that. Itmar. Okay. Itmar. Avodas kachavim shenishtabra. Avoided that it broke by itself. Rav Amar tzarich levatel kol kisem b'kisem. Each piece that is broken, you have to go ahead and mevatel each piece because maybe they might serve each piece. Ushmul Amar, and Shmuel says, avodas kachavim eina b'teila l'derech kedilasa. It's only mevatel but when it's you can't be mevatel pieces. Only mevatel when it's b'shleimus. Only when it's whole. Says the Gemara Adarabba, derech kedilasa mi mevatla. When it's standing whole, can you mean mevatel it, right? Amalei elahachi kamar kachem divrei Shmuel. Ein avodas kachavim tzrich levatel el derech dilasan. When it breaks, it automatically is batel. When would you have to mevatel it? When it's standing normally. When it's whole and intact, you need an act of bittul. When it breaks by itself, that memela, the act of breaking is bittul. So like Rav, even after breaking, you have to mevatel it. Like Shmuel, the act of breaking itself would be an act of bittul. Right? When do you need bittul? When it's b'shleimus. Leimu let us say b'hakanifli. This is the machlokes Rav and Shmuel. The Masava Rav's of the opinion that you have to break every peach. Oivden l'shvarim, that the Avodah Zorah, the pagans, they would even serve broken pieces. Umasavar and Shmuel's of the opinion ain't oivden l'shavim. They don't serve broken pieces. Therefore, it's unnecessary to go ahead and be mevatel it. Says in Rolai. That's not the svaras machlokes between Rav and Shmuel. Kul yalma oivden l'shvarim. Even Shmuel would hold oivden l'shvarim. Right? V'hacha b'shivrei shvarim kamiflagi. Machlokes is what? The broken pieces of the broken pieces.
It's okay because they went really sort of like make sure if it had sword in the stand, that would be okay because that's part of the Avodah Zorah. But then if you just broke something else
that wasn't the Shiloh was over there. What's considered an Avodah Zorah? Only if it holds different things. Hesh, they have to be holding a world. They're holding certain objects.
Great.
This is breaking by itself. You're not breaking it. It's breaking by itself. So everyone holds. I'm going to have to see Rashi in a second. The machlokes is in shvarim. Says Rashi. Loy, the kuliyalma oivdim l'shvarim. Even Shmuel will hold that. Shen ishtabru me'aleim. That they break by themselves, everyone would hold. Even Shmuel would hold. They'd serve them. V'adam Shmuel b'reish pirkin afilu shivrei oivdes kachavim mutarim b'ana l'moitzon in broken pieces. I l'chayr if they serve them. You didn't see that it broke by itself. We'll say a guy broke it. In other words, if I have broken pieces, I'll go after the majority. The majority of the people will say that it broke that the guy broke it. Over here, however, we know that it broke by itself. So since it broke by itself, that's why Shmuel would hold that what. No, Rashi isn't kasha. Why earlier do we that you could, if everyone's of the opinion that they serve shvarim, how could you then with the ba'ana? And the answer is because it's broken. If I didn't see it break by himself, I assume it was broken by the guy. That's right. Over here, I saw it broke by itself. So what's the machlokes over here? V'hacha dekama rav kol kisim v'kisim is loshin shivei shvarim. In other words, each and every kisem you have to be mevatel. Ki going nishtabu shvarim l'shvarim. The broken pieces, they fell into broken pieces. Ub'shivei shvarim hu depligi shmol lavav. And that's where the machlokes is, guys. So that's the machlokes. It's machlokes and shivei shvarim. Like rav kol kisim v'kisim you have to. Shmuel says If it's one broken piece, yes, but multiple broken pieces not. That's machlokes between the two. Back in the Gemara. Rabbi mitzarch levatul kol kisem v'kisem Shmuel Amar avodas suchav meina b'teil el derech v'lasan. Adrab, we said okay. El b'hakem masav oivim l'shvarim masav meina oivim l'shvarim. First white line like the kulialma oivim l'shvarim v'hakem b'shivei shvarim kamifli masav b'shivei shvarim asurim. That's Rav umasav b'shmuel shivei shvarim mutarim. V'yiboy saying but the kulialma shivei shvarim mutarim. Even Rav would hold its mutter. V'hacha ba'avodas kechavim shel chol yois. We're dealing with a bunch of pieces, connected pieces. In other words, it had different parts. Now we know that Lego, right? But sometimes you see kids playing with Lego. Some kids are bigger experts than others, right? So Machlek is over here. So regular Joe can put this back together again. Masav Akivan the Hedya Yachal Achsira says Rab, since a head you can put it back together again. Loy batla, he's not mavatal. Umasav Shmuel's on the opinion. Eina by the Sechav and Betela Elef Gedi Lasan Dainu Urche. That's only right if it's standing. Normally Halav Gedi Lasan he. This is not Gedi Lasan because usually it's in pieces that are held together. Bein Tzricha Levatel. It's unnecessary to mavatal it. Hajal Lecha Kalat Slamim. Hajal Lecha Kalat Slamim. Hajal Lecha Kal Hat Slamim.